Hello there and welcome to the Imola Grand Prix here in Delta T Racing. My name is Phoebe Thomas and today we will be having a one-shot qualifying as that will be the one-shot sprint race qualifying, and afterwards we will be having a sprint race, a one-shot qualifying and a 50% race after that. We've got 15 drivers on the grid tonight, and hopefully there's going to be plenty of battles on track. We're currently on board with Skipper, who's just about to enter turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3. Already a big snap there from the Haas driver as he comes out of turn 3. Heading into turn 4 and 5, a little chicane there for the Haas driver and many of the other drivers on track. At the moment, a lot of curb taken there by Mr. Skipper. Into turn 6 he goes, and then heading into turn 7, which is going to be that fast left-hander. Actually, I think this is turn 7. This might be turn 8, that fast left-hander. Watch out for the curb, and that's... Oh, I thought that was going to be an invalidation. Apparently, it wasn't. Into the fast right-hander, and we've got an uphill corner. Watch out for the braking zone, because you can easily lose the car. Fast on the throttle again into that other chicane, where we saw Charles Leclerc, I think it was either in 2021 or 2022, crash out onto the curb, so the guys have to watch out for that as well. Now down the straight he goes, and then we've got the last two left-handers of the Imola Grand Prix. Here he comes into the last corner. It seems like he's taking that a little bit too wide, not too much speed coming through that corner, as the guys already came across the line with 114.8. All time goes to the Red Bull driver. And apart from that, I think there's many drivers who actually invalidated their lap, so we're gonna have to look who those guys are. Apparently there are no jokers tonight, so many of these guys are not going to be able to get a good decent position on the grid. We've got Benny Buno, Hammersuk, Maggot, Stewart, Packman, Romero and Hackett all disqualified from the session. That leaves Nexton in a pole position in P2. We've got Zetterval in the Scuderia Ferrari. And then we've got Joe Hayward in the Mercedes in P3. Further, we've got Brandon, Daniel, Reliot, Skipper, and Mr. Miyagi in P8. Apparently it says 14, 15, 16, 17, but obviously they're going to be in 9, 10, 11, and 12. And let's see what this sprint race is gonna bring. It's gonna be an exciting one. I think Imola is a very difficult track to make an overtake on. Usually the overtakes will happen down the straight. That's why we were gonna be seeing a lot of back and forward battles between the guys. And hopefully none of the tire wear that is usually quite effective here in Imola is gonna play a role in these battles. Now, it is usually quite interesting to see that drivers are coming into the pits a little earlier, a little later. We're going to have to see whether that is going to play a big role here tonight around Imola. Everyone is waiting for the guys to put themselves on the starting grid. We will most likely be having a formation lap first, so we're going to be waiting for that, and afterwards we will be racing, of course. I'm really surprised to see. I mean, I'm really wondering what the strategies will be. Will it be soft tires all the way till the end of the sprint race? Will it be mediums? I don't think anyone will go on the hard tires. I think the hard tires are pretty decent though, but I don't think it's not going to be many laps. I think it's even going to be 12 or 13 laps. I could be mistaken. And here come the guys. We have got a formation lap first, so we're not able to see what how many laps there are yet. Everyone seems to be on the medium tires. The soft tires were a little bit of a tough shot there for the guys. So everyone onto the medium tires. I think that is the best shot as well, as it will be Nexton in P1 in pole position right there. If I'm not mistaken, Benny Buno finds himself in P1 in the Drivers' Championship. I'm just going to double check that for you, lads. Here we go. This is Division 1. This is Division 2, of course. So Benny Buno in P1 indeed. Then we've got Brandon in P2. Brandon with a pretty decent qualifying right there in P4. We've got Gunnar in P3. Gunnar doesn't seem to be there tonight, so he's going to lose a big amount of points for that Kick Sauber team. His very own teammate Reliot is in the lobby, and he's going to be able to score a decent amount of points. He's currently in P5 in that Drivers' Championship. Then we've got Maggot in the middle of those Kick Sauber drivers. He is all the way in P11 right now in this qualifying session, so he's got a lot of positions to climb up to. And then we've got Mr. Kenji in P6, he's not there either, as Skipper is going to be the only Haas driver for tonight. Nexton in P7, he could be scoring some decent points here as well in the sprint race, as well in the in the actual race, because usually when you do have a decent amount of short qualifying, I mean one-shot qualifying pace, in the sprint race qualifying, you might be seeing a lot of pace as well in the actual race one-shot qualifying. So let's see whether he can keep his car on track during the one-shot qualifying for the 50% race. But that doesn't matter too much right now. We will be racing in that sprint race as all the guys are going to be lined up on the grid, hoping to get a good start on those medium tires. They cannot really have the benefit of the better tire. And we are going to be seeing who is going to jump the most positions and the worst amount of positions. Everyone is lined up. The engines are roaring for the Imola sprint race. DRS is enabled already. That is a mistake by the game. There we go, DRS disabled. It's 5 red lights for the Imola sprint race. Apparently there's 11 laps to go, and off we go for the first lap here around Imola. A good start already from the Ferrari driver as he finds his way around the Red Bull driver. Here they come into turn 1, and it will be Zetterval not giving up, but neither will the Red Bull driver as he spins the Mercedes out, and I think he spun himself first out. Rally goes on to the gravel there, crashing out Mr. Skipper as well, who finds himself still in the grass. Let's bump back to the front of the pack as the Mercedes driver seems to be having some front wing damage. Yes, we can see his front left plate missing, as the McLaren drivers apparently had a pretty decent start there. Benny Buno gaining 2 positions, and then we've got Hammerzook gaining 1 position, currently in P9. As the top 3 is currently running away. Here comes Nexton down the inside, around the outside into turn 9. Beautiful overtake there by Nexton. I never thought we would see an overtake there, but apparently we did. Benny Buno who gained a position as well by that move. Brandon's got to worry. Brandon has got to worry because he's got Benny Buno behind him. The only championship contender at this point. Maybe further down the road in the season we might be seeing some changes, but right now Benny Buno is his biggest competitor, and he's right on the tail of the Mercedes driver. Here they go. The DRS will not be enabled yet. Oh, and Brandon is coming into the pits. He's gonna change that front wing. Let's see what Stewart can do into the slipstream of Benny Buno. DRS does not seem to be enabled yet. Lap 2 out of the 11. As there's not too many laps here in this sprint race. Into turn 3 they go, and a very good exit there by the Alpine driver. Around the outside he goes. Here comes Stewart. What an overtake. Had a better exit than the McLaren driver, and he doesn't find himself in a McLaren sandwich anymore. Benny Buno, who's looking to make a move down the inside. Let's go on board with Magid, who's having a little bit of wheel banging there with the Red Bull driver, and he pushes Daniel off track a little bit as well. Daniel, who had to watch out for not going too deep into that next corner. Here he comes into turn 9 and then into turn 10 and 11, of course. He's going to have the DRS, so he's going to be able to get a little bit of I was just read the chat, somebody said the carnage, and that's what we love to see here, don't we? I mean, not always. If it's clean carnage, we love to see it. If it's a little bit of chaotic carnage with a lot of damage, we don't love to see that. But I don't think many people came into the pits anyway. Brandon came into the pits, and apart from that, I don't think anyone gained a lot of damage. Zetterval, who now sets the fastest lap on those medium tires of 117.0. Here comes Daniel again. Yeah, are we going to be seeing a little weave there from the Red Bull driver, letting the Alpine driver know that what he did was actually not okay? Nexton right on the tail of the Alpine driver as well. So we might want to go on board with this little trio, a threesome, whatever you want to call it. Benny Buno is having some troubles keeping up with the Alpine driver right ahead of him. Does he have wing damage though? That is my question. I think he had a collision with someone earlier, but that could be my bad. Packman on the tail of Hackett right now, coming out of turn 6. As Miyagi now came into the pits as well, so did Romero. So we see a little contact there between both of the drivers. Maggot with a pretty decent race right now, gained about 7 positions, and that is the biggest winner tonight, together with his very own teammate who gained 6 positions. So the Alpine driver is actually doing a great job staying consistent in this race and gaining a lot of positions, as you can see there. Maggot might gain another one on Daniel. But are we going to be seeing a penalty for the Alpine driver because he forced Daniel off the track a lap earlier? Here he comes. DRS wide open for Maggot, and I think Daniel is going to lose 2 positions at the same time because Nexton has got the DRS as well. Here comes Maggot around the outside. What will Daniel be doing? He's going to defend the inside line from his very own teammate Nexton, who's not going to have the opportunity to make an overtake on Daniel. Now, Benny Buno and Hammersuk are gaining a bit of time on these three, as Stewart apparently lost the position there to both McLaren drivers. Daniel now with a 3-second time penalty, as that will be the biggest, the first penalty of tonight. Let's go on board with Skipper here as he's finding himself on the tail of the Kick Sauber driver. 5 positions lost overall. The biggest loser right now is Brandon with 9 positions lost. So not a great start there from the Mercedes driver, but maybe he can climb back up during the actual races. That will be a clean sheet for Brandon. Hopefully he's not going to get taken out this time around, as we might be seeing some penalties there for those collisions at the first lap of the sprint race. Now let's go on board with Daniel here as he's finding himself on the tail of a Maggot once again. He's not really battling for that top 3 position because of that penalty, as Hammersuk now makes an overtake on his very own teammate. And we might be seeing some McLaren team play here from the McLaren boys, as they want to keep Stewart behind them for as long as possible. Now Benny Buno will be able to make an overtake. Let's see what he's going to do. He's choosing to go down the inside. What will Stewart be doing? 3 wide into turn 1. Down the straight they go as Stewart retakes P6 from both the McLaren drivers right now. Benny Buno couldn't keep him behind, as I think the Alpine driver actually has a lot of straight line speed coming down that straight. There's only one DRS opportunity for the guys here around Imola, and we saw that DRS come into handy quite well there down the straight. Daniel made that overtake on Maggot once again. Now Maggot, this is not an easy position he's finding himself in. A Red Bull duo is always dangerous. As we can see, Abu Dhabi 2021, we saw Perez and Verstappen obviously, and Maggot finds himself in the middle of both Red Bulls right now. So this is going to play either into his advantage or not, because one Red Bull driver, and he's having a little snap there. Daniel coming out of turn 11, I think that was. Next to now making that overtake as well. But as I said, you know, one Red Bull driver could just decide to make it very difficult for Maggot right there. And in my opinion, that should be Daniel, who should keep Maggot behind him for as long as possible and give that little, you know, a little advantage to Nexton, who's going to be in P3 at that point. So let's see how this is going to play out. Nexton down the straight. Maggot is getting overtaken. Down the straight we go, and Nexton takes P3 from the Alpine driver. Daniel is going to play a part in this little battle. Here he comes out of turn 3. Not enough straight line speed to make an overtake coming out of turn 3. May it be a little curb. No, he's not going to be able to make a move into turn 6 as well. And there's a yellow flag. There's a yellow flag, and that is Stewart, who's in the gravel, possibly with a collision. Well, thanks to a collision with one of the McLaren boys, and he's going to find himself all the way in P11, maybe even in P12. Let's see if Skipper is going to be able to make that overtake, because Stewart also has dirty tires right now, so they're not going to be optimal to be racing on. But apart from that, we will be racing again in the other positions. Now here comes Maggot. He's losing a bit of toe to Nexton. What can Daniel do to make it difficult for Maggot to get back to Nexton? It's a 3-way battle, and I honestly think that Daniel should put the pressure on Maggot for as long as possible. Now Maggot is going to be able to have the DRS. Daniel not. Daniel is not going to have the DRS anymore, so he's definitely losing the toe there from both of those drivers. Nexton with a 116.7 on the medium tires is having the fastest lap so far. Here comes Maggot. Down the straight he goes. Not able to make an overtake. Beautifully done there by Nexton, having a good exit out of that last corner, which gave him a little more straight line speed than Maggot, for example. Now Hackett and Packman have caught up to Hammersuk and Benny Buno. So the McLaren boys not really doing a good job keeping those guys out of distance. And Hackett now making the overtake. What did Benny Buno do there? What did Benny Buno do? He just drove out of the track. Miyagi with a 3-second time penalty as well. Does Benny Buno want to have a battle with Reliot? I think he does. Is he going down the inside? Apparently he is. Into turn 8 they go, and Reliot makes it out ahead of the McLaren driver. Beautiful defensive position by Reliot, choosing the outside line. And apart from that, nobody really seems to be within 1 second of the other guy. We might want to stick with Benny Buno and Reliot here. as Benny Bruno will have the DRS, and that's going to play into his advantage. Only 3 more laps to go after this one. And we gotta wait, because if Benny Bruno is going to gain that position due to the DRS, we might be seeing Reliant stick it within that 1 second and get the DRS again down the straight. And then we're just going to be having a back and forward battle here, as I said before. And down the straight goes Benny Bruno, making up that position with the use of DRS. Beautifully done by Benny Bruno. And oh no, it's 4 more laps to go for these guys, as we're currently in lap 8. Then we've got lap 9, 10, and 11 still. Zetterval finds himself about 4 seconds ahead of Joe Hayward. I think it must be... Oh, there goes Benny Bruno again. He does the same mistake, and that might explain why he was off track earlier. Stewart now having a little snap there as well. His tires are going all over the place. What is he doing? Does he have dirty tires? Is that why he's weaving all over the place? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Nexton has caught up to Joe Hayward there, as we might be seeing the Red Bull driver not in P5, not in P4, not in P3, but maybe even in P2, as Daniel gets another 3-second time penalty that is going to play a big part in this battle, because he's going to lose more than 3 positions there. 1 to Hammershoek, Hackett, and Pac-Man. At least if Pac-Man can get within 3 seconds of Daniel. I don't think that should be too much of an issue. Here comes Nexton around the outside in that Red Bull car. Beautifully done. The DRS is playing a big part in making that overtake. And now Nexton can try to get back to Zetterval, although I think that is a bit too optimistic in 3 more laps. But you never know. If Zetterval makes a little mistake there, we might be seeing that come into play. Pac-Man on the tail of Hackett as well. And if Pac-Man is going to be an annoying little driver, I think Hackett isn't even going to gain a position on Daniel there. So we might be seeing a big role here for Pac-Man during the battle between Hackett and Daniel. I mean, at least penalty-wise, because if we're going to take a look at the penalties, we might be seeing 6 seconds for Daniel and 3 seconds for Pac-Man. But Hackett doesn't have a penalty now. He finds himself about 4 seconds behind Daniel. So maybe if he pushes a little bit, he might be able to get within that... Oh no, never mind. Never mind. Never mind. He's still within 6 seconds of Daniel. He needs about... I mean, he has a gap of about 2 more seconds before he's going to lose that position again. So if Pac-Man is going to make it very, very difficult for Hackett to gain a lot of time, it might even cause him to lose a lot of time, and then he's going to drop out of those 6 seconds. It's already at 4.2 right now. Joe gets overtaken by Maggot as well, down the straight with the DRS, and that is something we are usually going to be seeing. Oh, what is Pac-Man doing? Onto the grass he goes. Did he get pushed onto the grass? I cannot tell you that for sure. Daniel, who lost the car as well. And maybe that is an indication that a lot of guys are choosing the medium tires, but maybe they don't last that long, because everyone is sliding off the track and is losing control over their cars. Now we're heading into the last lap of this sprint race, and then we will be having 33 more laps of a Grand Prix, of a 50% race. So let's see whether we're going to be seeing some interesting battles throughout that race, and let's hope we're going to be having a cleaner turn 1, because the turn 1 we saw earlier wasn't that great. We might be seeing a little less carnage, and let's hope that's going to be the case. Here comes Joe, still on the tail of Maggot, and we might be seeing a DRS overtake from the Mercedes driver. All he needs is a good exit out of the last corner. Let's see if that's going to be the case. Seems like it is. Skipper with a 3-second time penalty as well. Miyagi, who's got 6 seconds in total. Now here comes Joey Hayward. I'm calling him Joey. And Joe Hayward, down the straight he goes. The air is wide open, and it's just too powerful here in Imola. Into P3 goes Joe, as this is the last lap as well. So the Alpine driver will not be able to use the DRS anymore. Let's go on board with Maggot and see how he is going to take these last couple of corners, and hoping to gain that position again. A P3 and a P4. There's not much difference point-wise, but being on that podium is definitely going to give a boost towards the 50% race. So let's see whether Maggot is going to be able to get a podium all the way from a far, far position. I think it was P13 even. A little lockup from Nexton. We saw the smoke there in turn 9 and turn 10. Let's see what Maggot is going to do. He's looking to go down the inside, though. He was looking, but He was just too far. A good exit there out of the chicane from Joe Hayward. And I think this will be a podium position for the Mercedes driver as Benny Buno gets another penalty. Yes, I mean, that's his first penalty, obviously. Zetterval takes the sprint race win next in MP2 with a good race as well. Oh my God, look at that. Maggot 55 thousandths away from Joe Hayward. Let's go on board with Hackett as well. Backman, who found himself within 3 seconds of Daniel, so we're going to be seeing him in P7 still as Hackett jumps a position. Skipper is going to lose that position, that P11 to Brandon, but no points gained here. Coming all the way from P9 to P15. Romero DNF from the race as well, as his race is finished. Brandon bumping up 2 positions there, coming from P12 all the way to P10 because he didn't have a single penalty. No points for him either in this sprint race. And then we've got 2 more drivers to come across the line. One is Miyagi. And then we've got Benny Buno coming around the last corner right now. And it seems like he's really struggling on the tires. He's on soft tires as well. And that might indicate how many laps he can do on those soft tires. The sprint race is usually a really decent thing to estimate how long the tires can go and all that kind of stuff. As it's basically the same race. I mean, how do you say that? The same... Not necessarily scenario, but like the same conditions. That was it. So here we got the results of the sprint race. Zetterval takes the sprint race win with Nexton in P2 and Joe Hayward in P3. Further, we've got Maggot, Hammersook, Hackett, Packman, Daniel, Aureliot, and Brandon in the top 10. Then we've got Stewart, Skipper, Miyagi, Benny Buno, and Romero with the DNF. Apart from that, that is going to be your sprint race. Now we will be having a one-shot qualifying and a 50% race afterwards to determine who's going to be the Imola Grand Prix winner. I'm just going to double check with the live stream whether the quality is okay, because I did some audio checks. I mean, I forgot to do some audio checks earlier, but I did do them a couple of days ago. Now here's the thing. Apparently I'm not live. What is this? Why is it not showing live? Can anyone hear me? One second, lads. Apologies for taking so long. Just gonna double check because apparently it says that I'm not live. Well, I'm obviously live because I can just see myself talking here. Oh yeah, I am live. There we go. 3 watchers. Ah, thanks guys, appreciate it. Benny, I cannot hear you, by the way. Alright, so the audio is pretty decent. Thanks, by the way, for watching the live stream. Really appreciate it. We will be having that one-shot qualifying pretty soon, actually in 5 seconds, so... I mean, get some popcorn, get some chips, get some Coke, whatever you... I mean, not Coke as in cocaine, but Coke as in Coca-Cola. This is a child-friendly video. Alright, here we go. Once again on board with Skipper. We might want to go on board with someone else, and that is Nexton. Down the straight he goes. As we saw a qualifying lap around this track already before, but we might want to go on board with the Red Bull driver because he just took that that turn 1 perfectly. And let's see what he can do in sector 2. Look at how Nexton goes into the corners with that amount of speed. This guy is a qualifying menace. Coming into sector 2, he's got the fastest first sector. Let's see how he's going to do in sector 2 and 3. He just turns into the corners so smoothly. He knows where to turn into the corners. It's actually creepy to see how his lap is going to be. And I personally think that this is very close to a perfect lap around Imola. Into the chicane he goes. Aureliot quite close to the tail of the Red Bull driver. Although he did lose a position to Joe Hayward there. for a second. Brandon back into P3, and that is what we love to see. Brandon Nexton battle. Nexton coming into the last corner. What time will it be? We saw a 1:14.7, if I'm not mistaken, earlier during that one-shot qualifying. What will it be this time? A 1:14.8. A very good qualifying there from Nexton. Brandon in P2, and Zetterval, who got within the top 2 in that one-shot qualifying earlier, currently in P15 with a disqualification. That is a big one, as he's going to be losing a tremendous amount of points because of that. If you can find yourself in P2 or in P15, there's about a 22-point difference, so he needs to gain a lot of positions there. Here's the one-shot qualifying result. A 1:14.8 takes a pole, gives pole to Mr. Nexton, the Hungarian driver. Brandon in P2 and Benny Buno in P3. Further, we've got Rilliot, Joe Hayward, Miyagi, Hammersuk, Pacman, Hackett, and Romero in the top 10. Then we've got all our disqualifications. Once again, both the Alpine drivers there. Skipper, Daniel, and Zetterval. Somebody in the chat mentioned the difference in time there between P1 and P2, and we do indeed see a big difference, 7/10 to be exact, and that is basically unseen in F1 equal performance racing, because all these guys race in the same performance cars, meaning anyone in any team would be as fast as in another team. For example, if you race in Ferrari, you would be as fast as in Red Bull. It's not that the Red Bull car is the fastest car. Yeah, and that's the thing here in Delta T racing. It's not necessarily unique, but I like it more than having realistic performance, because I had another league on Wednesdays, if I'm not mistaken. They had realistic performance, and they put the fastest guys in the slowest cars and the slowest cars in the slowest guys in the fastest cars. Now we saw a big problem with that, because obviously the guys who were really slow in their fastest car were still slower than the guys in the slow cars, and that doesn't make any sense. So this really gives a good view on the performance of the driver itself, and not necessarily the car. Here we go. Strategy wise, we're looking at almost all drivers on the medium tires. Only 2 drivers on the hard tires, being Megid and Zetterval. I'm not surprised to see Megid on the hard tires. He's somebody who likes to go the opposite direction strategy-wise. And then Zetterval, obviously, because of that disappointing qualifying, he's going to start on the hard tires as well. Nothing to lose because of those tires. Usually when somebody at the front of the pack is going to start on harder tires, you're going to see him drop a lot of positions, because all the other guys are having more grip on the pavement because of the better tire. Obviously, they're gonna gain a lot of positions, especially here in Imola. You see on the right hand side the track map, and then you can see the finish line. The drivers just start right in front of that finish line, meaning the straight line before turn 1 is actually long, which gave Zetterval, for example, the opportunity to make that overtake on, I think it was Nexton as well, or was it Brandon, during that sprint race as well. So here we go, everyone will be lining up to the grid really soon, as I'm going to take a quick sip of water before we are ready to go. And, guys, make sure to give me any of your thoughts about the race, about my commentary maybe. That would be really appreciated if you could just drop me a DM saying, yeah, I like this or I didn't like this about the commentary. I would be happy to listen to you. And for some reason, every time I do commentary, I've got a problem with mucus in my throat. It's really annoying, and I don't know how to solve it. It doesn't matter. Here we go for the Imola Grand Prix Season 11, Division 1, Round 3 of the Imola Grand Prix. It's 5 red lights for this beautiful F1 race around Imola. And off we go. Nexton starting in pole position. Hammersuk, who's already making up a position. Rilliot now down the straight. Brandon once again with a good exit off the line. Around the outside he goes, but Nexton keeps the lead of the race. Benny Buno in P3. Around the outside of Rilliot. And that seems to be a good overtaking opportunity for Rilliot as well. Down the straight he goes, and he gains the position on the McLaren driver. No carnage this time around in this Imola Grand Prix. I mean, obviously the race start, because we might be seeing some carnage later this race. Hackett, who's gained the position as well. Miyagi, who's very unlucky, and is that Daniel? That is indeed Daniel, who's off track already. Lost the car coming out of turn 6, and he's going to be starting all the way in P15. Zadoval, not really lucky there on the hard tires. He's still in P14. Pac-Man on the tail of Hammersuk, that is, but also Hackett looking to make an overtake on that Aston Martin ahead of him, as he seems to be braking a little earlier there in that chicane. But he even missed his braking point, so he broke earlier, but he kind of overshot anyway. And we saw Pac-Man there with a little snap out of the chicane, so that is not a good sign for the Aston Martin driver. Saving ERS right now, and a lot of guys will be saving ERS in this little DRS train. Let's go on board with Brandon here. Down the straight he goes into the slipstream, as Reliant is not able to get back within that top 2 range. Although Joe losing a bit of time already out of that 1 second, so he will not be able to use the DRS later this lap, as that will be for next lap, of course, because there is only one DRS opportunity around the Imola Grand Prix. I think it's called the Autodromo, Enzo Edino Ferrari. And a lot of position changes there at the back of the pack, as that will be Pac-Man all the way in P15. He lost 7 positions. And something must have happened. Maybe an overtaking opportunity that didn't turn out well. Miyagi currently in P9, trying to keep Stewart behind him. And we saw a big position gain from Maggot earlier in the sprint race. We're not seeing that same luck turn into his advantage this time around, as he's still in P11 where he started this Grand Prix. Romero 410s behind Hackett as well, but he will be able to use the DRS later on. So let's go on board with Brandon, who's coming around the last corner. DRS wide open for the English driver. Down straight he goes. Not close enough to Nexton, I'm afraid, as the DRS will not play into his advantage. But it kind of does play into his advantage, because this time around, Relly will not be able to make that overtake. Hammersuk with an overtake on his very own teammate, Mr. Benny Buno. That we might want to go on board with Stewart here. Is he going to go down the inside? No, backs out of it again. Maybe Daniel and Skipper. Neither of them is going to be able to make an overtake. Neither will Pac-Man, obviously, as Zadoval trying to keep that P13 for him, as he gained 3 positions overall. Now, on the hard tires, it's really hard to make an overtake around Imola. You're really struggling, and that might indicate why Maggot didn't gain a position either. He's still in P11 on those hard tires. Might make an overtake on Stewart. Are we going to be seeing one later on? Down the inside he goes. No way he's going to make a move here on his teammate. There's too much risk involved with that overtake. So he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna do it. Down straight he goes. Let's see what Miyagi does, because he's putting a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Romero. Basically because he's getting a lot of pressure himself by Mr. Stewart. So we've got a little DRS train here. Hackett being the first person within that DRS train, who's not going to be having the DRS, obviously. Benny Buno on the tail of his very own teammate. Let's go on board with Brandon. Down straight he goes, and I think this will be a shot. This will be a shot for Brandon. Does he go down the inside? No, decides to go around the outside, and Nexton is defending position, but Brandon makes it out ahead. A new race leader in this Imola Grand Prix, as Maggot finds himself in front of his very own teammate as well, due to that DRS opportunity. They just need to stick within the DRS of the guys ahead of him, because otherwise it will just be an Alpine battle, and then there's going to be problems within the Alpine headquarters, obviously. And the top 4 is having a decent battle as well. Joe managed to catch up, so did Reliant, so we're going to be seeing 4 guys battle for that race win, and we still have plenty of racing to go. 28 laps to be exact, as this Grand Prix will take 32 laps to be able to get finished. Obviously, if we're going to be having a race start, we might be seeing that change, but I'm going to be totally honest with you. Everyone said this game is shit, but the lobbies have been fantastic. The amount of race starts I haven't actually done one race start on the F124 game, and you don't want to ask how many races I've commentated already. I think it's more than 50. Here we go. Hammersuk making an overtake this time around. What will Nexton be doing? Reliant maybe with an overtake. No, he backs out of it. Almost goes into the back of Brandon. Maybe with a good exit. Oh, and he backs out of it again. I think Aurelia definitely had a shot with an overtake on Brandon if he just kept going. And Joe's just patiently waiting. He's just waiting for all the other guys' tires to wear out, and he's just going to benefit out of that. A yellow flag, as that will be Miyagi who crashed out together with Daniel, if I'm not mistaken. Daniel, who crashed out again, gets overtaken by Pac-Man and Skipper. Did those guys came into the pits as well? Because they're all the way at the back of the grid. I didn't see Skipper crash out, so it might be that he came into the pit. Wait, let me just double check. Did he come into the pits? No, nobody came into the pits so far. Here we go, a four-way battle once again down the straight. DRS wide open for all of these guys except for the leader of this race, Nexton, in that beautiful Red Bull car. I don't know, I don't care what kind of fan you are, but that Red Bull looks amazing. It's been looking amazing since 2010, or even earlier when they used to use that livery. Here comes Brandon around the outside. DRS wide open, and that will give that opportunity for free for Brandon to make that overtake. I was actually going to say that's going to leave that room wide open on the outside, but it didn't come out like that. I don't know why. It is what it is. Let's see what Maggot can do. Oh, Romero back into P8, and Maggot now in a Ferrari sandwich. And his biggest competitor right now, obviously, is Zetterfall, because they are the only two who are running hard tires, except for Stewart, who just came into the pits. He's going to spoil the party there. But, I mean, Stewart, he's going to try and play the long shot. It's not going to work out, I'm afraid. 26 laps on the hard tires. But, you know, you can try whatever you can try, right? If the race is not going your way, you gotta find solutions on how you can get back to the front of the pack. And he thinks he can do it by going onto the hard tires till the end of the race. Yeah, it's not for us to judge. Obviously, we're going to see later throughout the race whether that's going to be the ideal strategy for the Alpine driver in that case. Obviously, when you're having a broken front wing, there's not much choice you got. But you never know. You know, he could go onto the hard tires. There's an early safety car, and he could come back into the pits. Hammersook with an overtake. Maybe Nexton as well. No, he backs out of it. And Reliant has got his hands full with Mr. Joe Hayward as well. Romero now with the DRS. Oh, and we've got the Alpine drivers collide. No, that's Maggot and Hackett. Apparently Maggot lost the car there. Watch out for the Aston Martin. And that is beautifully done, leaving enough space down the inside for Mr. Miyagi. And Maggot not really lucky on those hard tires, I'm afraid. Is he already losing grip there? That would be quite surprising. Oh, and Daniel losing the car once again. This might be a setup issue for the Red Bull driver, because he's been spinning around for a couple of times already this race. And in the sprint race, we saw the same issue for Daniel. So maybe he's got to look into the guy that gave him the setup. And just got to slap his ass a couple of times and demanding better setups. You know, sometimes a lot of guys get their setups from other guys, and that's how the F1 world works, obviously. Here comes Joe, DRS wide open into the slipstream as well, and he's got a lot of straight line speed. Will be making that overtake on Reliant. No, but Nexton is on Brandon. Look at that. Once again, a back and forward battle. Benny Buno having his own back and forward battle with Hammersook. And I don't think that will change anytime soon. Zetterval now with an overtake on Hackett, as we kind of missed that move. Apologies, Zetterval, if you want to see that back. Oh, and a safety car. That's going to be the first safety car here around Imola. With hopefully not many more to come left, but you never know in a race like this. Who crashed out? Most likely Daniel. And yes, indeed, he lost his front wing, and he's got to come back into the pits. And this is why I said that I didn't like that hard strategy from Stewart. It's just, it's almost certain that with the amount of crashes that happened during the short qualifying already, that we were going to be seeing a safety car. And going onto the hard tires right now limits you from going onto another set of tires. Now, a thing that is good is he can take those hard tires a little longer. But in my opinion, if there was, for example, a safety car or around lap 15 maybe, he couldn't have gone onto another set of hard tires because it's not allowed. And I don't think he even has another set of hard tires, if I'm being honest. So if he chose to go onto the medium tires, he could have just gone medium, and then finished the race on that second set of medium tires. As a lot of guys right now are coming into the pit. Satterfall says that 10-second time penalty for Hackett for speeding in the pit lane. Big penalty there for the Ferrari driver. No, he's not Ferrari, he's Williams, obviously. Sorry, guys, this is only my third race here. Missing a few, I see. Yes, indeed, Bogarovsky. We are missing 5 drivers. I can tell you their names right now as there is a safety car anyway. Yes, I've got a Gmail mail. We don't want that. Let's go to a Discord and look at the names. So, for Division 1 F1 results, those are the ones. Those are not the ones that we need. We need the standings. So, who are we missing right now? We are missing Gunnar, the Kicksauber driver. We're missing Kenji, the Haas driver. We are missing yourself, obviously, Bogarovsky, the Williams driver. We are missing... I'm not sure whether he is the Aston Martin driver that's in the standings. I think it is. I mean, it's his name right now sounds very, very Greek. Miyagi, him. And then another guy in... Wait, maybe he's a reserve driver. I don't know. Doesn't matter that much. So we don't have Athanasiou. Who is the... this sounds really Greek. Oh, he is Greek. Look at that. The flag is right there. Then we've got Isio for Ferrari. And that might be either Romero or Zetterfall. It might be Romero there. Then we've got Hackett is there. Heikane isn't there. VCARB driver. Stewart is there. Connor isn't there. We don't have Rika either. It's the other VCARB driver. And we don't actually have any VCARBs represented right now. Yeah, I thought that Gunnar is not here. I don't know where he is. He's not here. He didn't participate in the one-shot qualifying either. Yeah, Mr. Miyagi is Atanasio, I thought so. Rika is not here. He didn't respond either. The Lithuanian driver. Magic Poop Cannon is not here either. And then we've got both the McLaren drivers there. So that's good news. Looking at the points difference between P1 and P2 and P3. P1 currently is Benny Buno, who's got about 68 points. Karate Kid. Who's Karate Kid? I don't know him. Is he racing? Or is that a little joke there, Bogorovsky? I don't know. P2 goes to Brandon and P3 goes to Gunnar. Now P2 and P3 both have 59 and 55 points. So not too big of a difference there. And especially with that sprint race today, that's most likely going to shrink a little more. Because Zetterval scored a decent amount of points during the sprint race. He will bump up a couple of positions. Obviously because Bogarovsky is not there, so he's going to lose a position. And I'm pretty sure that Romero is ECO because I remember Romero being Swedish. Now we do have a couple of teams where we are seeing the same nationality. Kicksauber both has English drivers. So does McLaren. Ferrari both has Swedish drivers. And we've got both the Red Bull drivers being Hungarian as well. If I'm not mistaken, where's the other Red Bull driver? Oh, he's not here. Wait, next in, and then we've got Daniel. Isn't Daniel, I think Daniel is, yeah, why isn't he here? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Oh, another lap around the safety car. I thought we were going. I thought we were going. No, I really thought that Daniel was, no, Daniel is Hungarian. Daniel, please elaborate when you're watching this live stream. Hackett came into the pits as well on the medium tires. Zetterval and Romero are Swedish. Did I say a different one? I thought I said Swedish. Did I say a different one? I've got it on my phone here, so I mean, yeah. I think I did say it. Vicar is not the same nationality. They're I know them. Oh, that's nice, Pipke or Pipki. However you pronounce it. Pipke, Pipke. In Dutch it's different than in English. In English you would say Pipke, I think. I don't know actually. Pipke, yeah, Pipke. And in Dutch it's either Pipke or Pipke. Because, yeah. Apart from that, we have got the Mercedes boys, both English. We've actually got a Gibraltar driver. And, you know, I love that Gibraltar flag. It's just so simple. It's white with red and a little house in the middle. It looks lovely. Apparently, we've got the one and only Romero, his cousin, in the chat. That is lovely to see. Hopefully, he's going to do great for you, Pipke. Or Pipke. However you like it. Constructor-wise, we're looking at Sauber in P1, McLaren in P2, and Mercedes in P3 as well. We're looking at a big points difference between P1 and P2 of 22 points, and in 3 races, that is a big difference. Most likely because Hammersuk is not really performing very well. He didn't score a point so far, so that will be a lot of points lost, especially with a P2 and a P4 for Kick Sauber in a P3 and a P5 for Kick Sauber in the Drivers' Championship. So we will be racing pretty soon. Once again, Zetterval in the lead of the race. There we go. So here we go. Zetterval in the lead of the race. Maggot in P2 and Nexton in P3. And they're going really fast there, coming out of that last corner. And they've got a big gap already to Nexton. I don't think Nexton can benefit from this little straight and that slipstream. Miyake losing? Wait, what happened to Miyake? I think he crashed out, but that might cause some issues for a lot of guys with penalties. Because if somebody crashes in the last corner before the safeguards come in, and before they actually have crossed the finish line, we... Oh, it's Hammers UK. I always call him Hammersuk. Well, I'll call him Hammers then this time around. Miyake with another 3-second time penalty. And we didn't see many position changes there. Let's just double check. Zetterval obviously gained 14 positions, but that's not too unlikely. Oh, and Daniel gets pushed wide there by Hackett. He will not be happy that much. Apparently, he's a big fan of the Hammers, which are West Ham United from the UK. That's a little football term there for you guys. Let's go on board with Nexton again on the tail of the Alpine driver. Let's see what he can do. The DRS will not be enabled yet, if I'm not mistaken, as they come across the line. It will be enabled right now, but that does exclude them from using DRS right now. Brandon had a lot of straight line speed earlier. Let's see what Hammer UK can do. Oh, he's going to get overtaken. Here comes Romero down the inside. Backs out again. Oh, the Swedish guy was looking to make a move down the inside. Backed out just in time. And maybe he has another shot here. He needs to stick within that, though, of Hammersuk. Hammers UK. It's just... it's gonna stick like that. Daniel with an overtake on Pac-Man. And Skipper's into the pits again. He will not be happy about that. I think that might be his 3rd or his 4th stop so far. 2nd. Damn. I am bad at guessing positions and pit stops and whatever. Oh, apparently he responds to Kunt as well. Ah, we're gonna call him Kunt from this time now. No, that's a joke. Hammers. If you're watching the live stream, love you, buddy. Here comes Joe down the straight. Well, it's a little straight, though, so not a good overtaking opportunity, but he will have the DRS. And who else has the DRS as well? It's Romero on the tail of Hammers UK. He doesn't have the DRS, so let's see what Romero can do. Not a good exit out of the last corner. Look at how much of a difference in straight line speed. Here comes Romero, and there's also a change in... oh! Brandon loses the car! Oh, and there's carnage into turn 1. Brandon into the gravel, and he's losing a lot of positions because of that. Zetterval drops back to P7. Did we see a crash between the Ferrari and the Mercedes driver? We kind of missed that, but Maggot into the lead of the race right now with a 1.2 second gap to Reliot. Things are switching around in the Imola Grand Prix. with Zatterval right ahead of Stewart. So maybe Romero can play a little game here with the Alpine driver. Romero also doesn't have a penalty, so we are not going to be too worried about his position here tonight. He is definitely going to get within the top 7 anyway because of those penalties ahead of him. So let's go on board with Joe as he's finding himself in the tail of Nexton. A 4-way battle between P1, P2, P3, and P4. Maybe even a 5-way battle if Benny Buno can find himself closer to these guys. Apparently, the oldest driver on the grid here tonight is Skipper, as we've got a position change here between Nexton and Maggot. Nexton down the inside, look at that, into P2 he goes. Maggot loses 2 positions at the same time. Let's see what Joe can do. Is Joe going to go for it? No, backs out of it again. Daniel with a 10-second time penalty, and I'm afraid that will be a race over. And it will indeed be a race over. Retired from the session. And Romero, Stewart, what happened to Stewart? Into the gravel as well. A lot of guys really struggling within that chicane. I don't get it. I don't get it. They're just losing the car too often. Let's go on board with Joey again. Oh, Joe, by the way, you know why I say Joey, right? As Joe is had a pretty decent exit coming out of turn 10. But here's why I say Joey. When you look at that name, I see Joe and I see the Y. So I'm thinking about Joe Hay, and then I gotta make, you see Joe Hay, and then you make one word out of it. So it's Joey. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense, but it is what it is. But as I said, apparently Skipper is the oldest driver on this grid as he's 62 years old. That is lovely to see. And as we were talking about Joey earlier, he's making a move now down the straight with the use of DRS. Now, really, it's still in the lead of the race. These two are really losing a lot of time battling with each other right now. Hackett made up that position on Romero again. Down the inside. Romero not giving up, though. Down the inside he goes. Clips the curb as he almost lost the car. Had to watch out. I thought it was going to take out Hackett. The Swedish guy not giving up, but neither is Hackett. They've got a little bit of, Williams Ferrari tension going on right now. From back in the days, obviously, because Williams is nowhere near Ferrari in the actual F1 standings right now. Let's go on board with Nexton as they've taken a bit of distance to Joe and Maggot, although Maggot not necessarily a great safety car restart. We do have to mention that he is on old hard tires. So I'm just going to get the tires for you real quick. 15 lap old hard tires, and he's hopefully going to finish the race on medium tires and gain a couple of positions. Now, let's go on board with Hammers UK. Out of the last corner he goes. The air is wide open for Hammer UK. And that will most likely be a position switch between both of the drivers. Let's see if Benny Buno can benefit from that as well. Oh, look at that pace difference. Look at that. Around the outside goes Benny Buno. And he's just got too much straight line speed. You saw that pace difference between the both of them. It was like me driving on the highway against another truck driver. I don't know. I mean, another truck driver. I'm not even a truck driver, but you get what I mean, right? Bogarov in the chat says, nice move, Mark. That's to Hackett, who made a move on Romero. We saw that earlier last lap. Or was it this lap? I can't remember. Too many laps here around that Imola Grand Prix. 32 to be exact, as that is one of the most longest races, not necessarily, but the most laps. Because all the laps, all the races take the same amount of time. At least the same amount of time. Because some tracks are longer, some tracks are shorter. Obviously, this track is, let me just double check what the fastest lap is, 117.3. So I'm really surprised by that, because usually the 117s are a little shorter in race laps. Here comes Elliott around the outside, takes the lead of the race. Brandon is finding himself in P12, and he's going to be punching air right now, because, he had such a great race. Such a great qualifying, my apologies. He had such a great qualifying during the one-shot sprint race qualifying. He dropped back many positions. Here comes Joe down the inside. Oh, look at that. Squeezing through. Backing out of it again. And he has exactly the same, Brandon, in this race. I mean, he had such a decent qualifying in P2. And then he finds himself in P12 all of a sudden. I don't get it. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Actually, I do get it. I'm a guy who qualifies really well as well. I just got the pace in the qualifying, but I don't have the pace in the race. I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it for myself. I do get it for other drivers because I got it as well. Let's go on board with Hammers UK as he made an overtake on Maggot as well. And Maggot possibly losing a position to Zetterval. And due to the consistency of Zetterval, which we saw in the sprint race as well, he gained 8 positions, and we didn't really see many crazy overtakes by the Swedish driver. You know, you've got Skipper who came into the pits, you've got Pac-Man who crashed out, Brandon who crashed out, Miyake who crashed out, Stewart who came into the pits, Romero who crashed out. It was Hackett who was having a decent battle with Romero there, so which made them lose a lot of positions. Relia drops to P3 right now. With Nexton still in the lead of the race, there's a 3-way battle for P1. But obviously Joe has got that penalty, so let's say nobody else gets a penalty. I don't think Joe is in a title contention right now for this race win. Miyagi with another 3-second time penalty. That will be his second so far in this race. With Skipper having 13, but we saw him come into the pits too fast earlier this race. I think it was during the safety car, and he got a 10-second time penalty for it. So he's going to be having 13 in total, but it's not really going to come into play anyway because he's 30 seconds behind Beckman. And, I mean, 13 seconds, there's nobody behind him, so not too much of a worry for Skipper there. Just finish the race, and you'll do great. Hackett crashed out. Hackett crashed out. He's currently in P12, going really slow coming out of the chicane. And he's going to be causing a lot of smoke there for Mr. Pac-Man. Unsure what happened with Pac-Man. Hackett, apologies. Zetterval now makes that overtake on Maggot, and also Hammers UK and Benny Bono switch positions. They're still playing together, and it's always lovely. You know, having your teammate around, it's always lovely. It's better than having a race in no man's land where there's nobody behind you, nobody in front of you. You just got to race 32 laps by yourself. And this time, you know, you can switch positions, you can play around a little bit, and hopefully not lose too many positions. Here comes Zetterval with an overtake on Benny Buno. Side by side they go. Is he going to go down the inside? No, backs out of it coming into turn 8. Zetterval being really not necessarily desperate, but really dangerous. He's got a 3-second time penalty though, so he's got to do something to get that 3-second gap to both the McLaren drivers, and then he's going to get a decent position. The tires will not be better. All the other drivers on fresh, hard tires, so it's quite surprising that Zetterval is actually faster than Benny Buno and Hammersuk, especially seeing, almost goes into the back of Benny Buno. Had a little lockup coming into turn 13. Down the straight they go, into the slipstream. Joe has taken the lead of the race, and Benny Buno, look at that speed difference. This is just insane. Look at Benny Buno. He's gaining a lot of time. 4/10 on the straight with DRS. I mean, that's crazy. Man, Nexton and Joe are having a decent battle again. And, you know, I always say this in my live streams when it's a threesome for the lead of the race. You've got 3 dogs, right? 2 dogs are battling for the bone. Like, woof woof, and then the other guy's like woof woof, and they're making the overtakes, whatever. And then there's always like a 3rd dog who's like waiting until those 2 are battling, and then he's just gonna run away with the bone. And the 2 dogs right now are Joe and Nexton, and the bone is the race win, and Reliant will be the 3rd dog running away with the race win, I'm afraid. Joe not necessarily really battling for the race win with that 3-second time penalty, so it's now just between Nexton and Reliant. But Joe could be a very crucial part in this little strategy for Reliant. If for example, if Reliant takes the lead of the race, Joe in P2 and Nexton in P3, the Mercedes driver could form a little danger to Nexton. Now Nexton back into the lead of the race, Reliant waiting once again. And being in P3 is usually a little more dangerous because if any of the two drivers ahead of you crash, you're most likely going to get crashed out again as well. Zetterval into the gravel. Not sure what happened with him there. He's leaving a trail of smoke behind him as well. That's actually dirt. A trail of dirt. Let's go on board with the top of the grid again as Maggot caught up to Benny Buno. And it's quite surprising to see that Benny Buno is really struggling on those tires because he's on fresher tires. I don't get it. Let's have a look at the tires real quick. He's on fresher tires. He's on 13-lap-old hard tires. Maggot is on 21 and Maggot still has more pace. I don't get it. We're going to see him pull away down the straight though. That might explain why he's a little bit slower throughout Sector 2 because you need a lot of downforce in Sector 2 and Sector 3 obviously. But then in Sector 1 he just flies off down the straight. You can see him gain a lot of time. He doesn't have the DRs right now. I think Hammers UK is going to... Yeah, he's going to wait. Look at that. A decent T-play there from McLaren. With Hammers UK waiting, holding up for Benny Buno. As Benny Buno is not going to have the DRS. No, he's not. Look at that. He lost a lot of time. No, he is actually. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. Here comes Maggot, and it seems like he has the same amount of straight line speed as Benny Buno now lost a position down the straight. Oh, Stewart with a retirement in the pit lane with 9 more laps to go. I think he could have had another shot at a race win here. Another race win, obviously. What am I saying? A top 10 position. And he's left the session as well. That is very disappointing to see, but I respect the choice, Mr. Stewart. Romero with a penalty again. Let's have a quick look with the penalties here. 3 seconds for Zetterval, 3 seconds for Romero. So they shouldn't worry too much by Miyake, who's got a 6 second in total. Brandon with 3 seconds, so he might be able to gain that position on Miyake. And we gotta have a look at Hackett there on the tail of Packman, although he just came out of the pit lane, so that won't be anywhere close to Packman. Now here comes Brandon with a look around the outside, back that again. Not an overtaking opportunity. DRS will be enabled later on. The top 3 are having a battle again. The top 3 are having a battle again. Who will come out ahead? Apparently that is going to be Nixon. Not necessarily a good overtaking opportunity for any of the guys in the top 3. Maybe it will be for Maggot. Around the outside he goes. Here comes the Alpine driver as he takes P4 from Hammers UK. And now we will be having another duo of McLaren drivers who are going to try and get back to Maggot. But he seems to be having a tremendous... Oh, no, the commentator scurs again. I was gonna say, he seems to be having a tremendous amount of pace on those old hard tires and he loses the car. Oh, why do I always have... Oh, when he crashes it... Oh, we're gonna be having a safety car. Yes, sir. Oh, why am I like this? It's every race that I'm having a commentator's curse. Every fucking race. Oh my days. Alright, Megan, by the way, I'm not laughing with your crash, buddy. You had a good race, like a decent race. It's unfortunate that you crashed into the wall. But this leaves open an opportunity for Zetterval to come to the pits and go into soft tires. Maybe? I think soft tires would work. So will they for Nexton, Joe, Rilliot, Benny Buno, Hammersuk, Miyagi, and all of those other guys who have gone onto the hard tires earlier, the previous safety car. Skipper can go into the pits as well, and he does indeed do so. Maybe onto another set of medium tires. Oh no, 8-lap-old medium tires, that's not going to work. All the other guys have gone onto medium tires as well. Oh, by the way, guys, don't listen to me strategy-wise. I'm the worst strategy decision ever. It's crazy. Don't choose the soft tires because of me. I'm always mistaken with strategies. Here we go, Mr. Miyagi. Oh no, that's Beckman. Apologies, Beckman. But Miyagi is also coming into the pits, obviously. Romero onto the soft tires. No, no, no. Who is that cousin again? Wait, Pipke. No, you didn't tell him that he has to go onto the soft tires, right? Not because of me, right? Pipke, please let me know. I don't want to be the guy to be blamed at. Instead of all went into the soft tires as well. Oh no. Hack it onto the hard tires. That is even a bolder decision. Look at that. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. 7 more laps to go. Actually, the soft tires might be the better shot. Because we've got 2 laps behind the safety car, right? So when the safety car comes in again, it will be lap 27. Then we've got 5 or 6 more laps of racing. The soft tires might be worth it. Romero is not going to win this race, though, because he's got a penalty as well. But he's going to gain a lot of positions, and I think Zetterval as well. Then even with no pit stop from Zetterval last time, he's even dropped to P10. He had 1 pit stop, and so did anyone else who went onto the hard tires at the beginning of the race. Megan actually had no pit stops because he crashed into the wall, unfortunately, which caused the safety car. Oh no, Pac-Man, come on, buddy. Oh, how can you get a 3-second time penalty under safety car? You can just go the same pace you always do. It's just... Oh, that's really unfortunate. Oh, Pipke is of the same opinion that the soft tires are the better tire right now. Let's just analyze the pit stops, the penalties. So we've got 3 seconds for Joe. I'm gonna tell it. I'm gonna say it again. If the other 2 are not gonna get a penalty, I think he's even gonna lose more positions because Benny Buno and Hammers UK both don't have a penalty either. Miyagi 6 seconds. He's gonna lose a position to Brandon and Romero if these were the finishing positions. 12 seconds for Backman as well. So Zetterval is a little bit lucky there because of those 12 seconds of Backman. But then on the other hand, Hackett might be able to benefit from those 12 and 6 second time penalties of Backman and Zetterval and get back within the top 10 because right now he's not going to be scoring a single point. Neither is Skipper. Skipper really unlucky this race. Not sure what happened. Hackett, is he back into the pits? It doesn't show that he's in the pits. That's really broke. Oh, now he does. Okay, well, makes sense. Guys, thank you very much. Appreciate it. F1 is such an interesting game. But, I mean, the lobbies are getting really better. Bogarowski in the chat says, watch Skipper get a point in the end of the race. Because obviously of the fast lap, right? Or don't you mean that? No, I think he does mean that because of the penalties, maybe. I don't know. He's staying out, and I think the safety car is coming in this lap, if I'm being honest. They're not going to wait for Skipper because he's too far. Wait, we can see it when he comes into sector 3. Yes, you can see the tires. Nobody stayed out. Everyone came into the pits. As I think that is a better decision. It's 15 lap old hard tires compared to old medium tires. Fresh medium tires is a little bit delusional if you choose that strategy. The safety car not coming in, so we're going to be having one more lap of safety car, and then we will be racing. So when the race is going to continue, it's lap 28 out of the 32. So then we're going to be having 5 more laps of racing, meaning that those soft tires will be 7 laps. I don't know. Is it going to work? They will wear off. I'm pretty sure that one of the Ferrari drivers is going to crash out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Some other drivers went into the soft tires as well. Skipper and Hackett. They actually played it really, really well. Hackett, who managed to get back into the slipstream of Zetterval. Now, here's the thing. He came into the pits 1 lap later because he wanted to save those soft tires for 1 more lap, which is going to be beneficial at the end of the race. So let's see if he's going to play it out as well as he hoped. At the end of the race, obviously. 26 out of the 32 laps, 5 more laps to go. So I'm just gonna have a quick look in the chat here. I think the soft tires is a good choice, according to Pepke. And yeah, I gotta agree. I sort of, I don't know, maybe. I don't know the tire wears in Imola. I thought it was high. But of course, then you've got 32 laps, which means that the, what is the usual strategy around Imola in an actual F1 race? Medium, hard? Medium hard, maybe? I don't know. Safety car is coming in this lap, meaning we're going to be racing for 5 more laps. And we are ready. We are ready for the race leader Nexton to come around the last corner and restart this safety car. I mean, this race, obviously, we don't want to see the safety car getting restarted. Just gonna drink a bit of water, and then we are ready to go. You gotta wet them out. And the throat as well, obviously. Here comes Nexton into the last corner. When is he gonna go? He's patient. He's patient. He's patient. He's patient. And he goes onto the throttle and uses a lot of ERS. Look at that. Joe got caught off guard. 3/10 behind Nexton. Not necessarily caught off guard, but he definitely could have done a little bit better. The guys here at the back of the grid are really close to each other as well. Let's see what Romero can do. Brandon maybe around the outside of Miyagi. Backs out of it again. Beautiful defense from the Greek driver. And I gotta be honest, these Greek drivers definitely know how to defend their positions. You know, it's a little fury within their minds that they're giving them a little more, a little more. How do you say that? A little more fire within the defense. I don't know. It doesn't even make sense there. Let's go on back with the top four. Oh, jeez, what am I saying? Get on back. Never mind. Benny Bruno into the top four on the tail of Elliott. Loses a bit of time in Sector 2, but he can make that up again in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Not necessarily Sector 2, only Sector 1 because of that straight line speed that he's having. Joe with that penalty. As we're heading into lap 29 out of 32. Not much happening right now. Brandon on the tail of the Greek driver. Here they come into the last corner. And oh, he's already going to be able to make that overtake. DTR is enabled already. They won't be able to use it yet. If he sticks within the slipstream, he might gain a little more straight line speed. And I think that's going to be the case. Look at how much straight line speed he got because of that slipstream. Down the inside goes Brandon. Backs out of it again. And another Greek defense. But he won't be able to defend from this, or will he? Look at that straight line speed from Miyagi. This is just insane by the Greek driver. Able to keep one of the fastest drivers on the grid behind him for already 3 laps. Insane defense by the Aston Martin driver. And he's got to. He just simply has to, because he got to get those extra points for the team. Zedderval now gains a position on Pac-Man. And Hake finds himself into the top 9. Zetterfall and Pac-Man going side by side into turn 9. Let's have a look with the penalties here. So this is probably the most important thing right now. Hackett, who's climbing up the ladder simply because he doesn't have a penalty, but also because of the pace that he's having on those soft tires right now. Brandon on the tail of Miyagi. There is an opportunity again for Brandon. So you might want to go on board with a Joe again, because he can have the DRS, and look at the pace difference. Elliott with the fastest lap of 117.2. Joe down the inside, beautifully done. And Elliott is going to wait again. I just think he has a little bit of problems with straight line speed. Even with the DRS, he's not even able to get back to Nexton. It's insane. Let's go on board with Romero. He finds himself within a Mercedes engine sandwich. Obviously, the Aston Martin team uses a Mercedes engine as well. Yagi backing out of it. I thought he had a little room down the inside. He didn't think otherwise, but he didn't go for it anyway. And this is a really clean but a really boring end of the race, if I'm being honest. Nobody really making an overtake. They seem to be really close to each other, but just not an overtaking opportunity anywhere, anytime. The next one on the tail again. Joe with that 3-second time penalty. He's just gotta do something, but I don't know what. He just cannot put any rocket ships right behind this car. Just fly off, right? He just needs to do something, but I'm not sure what. Maybe cause the other drivers to get a penalty as well, and then he can battle for that top 3 position. But how is he going to do that? Now a fastest lap as well for the Mercedes driver. Here comes next and around the outside. There is wide open. Zetterval with a 116.6. That will be an extra point for the Ferrari team at the end of the race. 2 more laps to go as we're heading into the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix. And Elliott is just going to play this really smart. He's just been sticking around. But he's got the pace, you know. He's just waiting and seeing. Maybe Benny Bruno can snoop away that race win. He just needs to get a lot of straight line speed and a good exit out of the last corner down the straight. We saw Maggot being really close to a top 3, if I'm not mistaken, position in the sprint race because he was able to use that DRS in the last corner, out of the last corner, and just 55 thousandths away from P3. Or was it the race win? I couldn't remember quite well. Now let's have a look here. They're heading into the third sector of the penultimate lap. Zetterval and Romero switch positions. Let's see whether he can make up a position here. It doesn't look like it. Brandon, who went a little wider there. Let's go on board with the top 4. What will Joe be doing? What will Elliott be doing? Because this is really important for the Kick Sauber driver. I think he's even happy with a P2. I'm going to be honest with you here. I think he's happy with a P2. He's not going to be able to make an overtake on Nexton. Or is he? Or is he? Or is he? Down the inside he goes off Joe. Oh, look at that move from Elliott. Oh, Joe not giving up though. Joe not giving up with a good exit of the Mercedes driver. Down the inside he goes again. And this is a beautiful battling between Elliott and Joe. Elliott's just got to watch out that he doesn't give away this P3. And it seems like he does. A P2, my apologies, Benny Buno down the inside, but he backs out again. And I think Nexton is running away. Nexton is running away with this race win here around Imola. He's got a 1.7 second lead as they're heading into the last sector of this Grand Prix. 32 out of the 32 laps, and the Hungarian driver Nexton takes the race win if he goes through the chicane perfectly though. I mean, without any mistakes. He doesn't even need to do it perfectly. But the battle for P2 is not done yet. Will it be Elliott? Will it be Benny Buno? I think the chances of making an overtake around here are very slim. But obviously, coming out of the chicane, out of the left-hander, you might be able to make an overtake. Elliott takes P2. Joe drops back to P4. Now let's see if anyone else can make an overtake. Zetterval still got past Miyagi, although Romero didn't have that much penalties as Zetterval and Miyagi, so he gets back into P7. Hackett into P10. He couldn't take up another position even without penalties, so he's still finishing in the podiums. He's getting 1 point in total, and I think Zetterval got the fastest lap as well. Driver of the day goes to the Ferrari driver as well. Because he had a very poor qualifying, even disqualifying, starting from P15. Here we've got the results of the Grand Prix. First, we've got the podium. The Hungarian driver Nexton in that Red Bull car takes the race win. Well, he's got a total of 33 points. Apparently, he got the fastest lap at the end of the race there. 116.5 for Nexton. And he's going to be scoring another point. 26 in total. Elliott in P2 and Benny Buno in P3. Further, we've got Joe, Hammers, UK, Brandon, Romero, Zetterval, Miyagi, and Hackett in the top 10. And we've got 2 more drivers who finished the race. Skipper and Backman. They're not going to be scoring any points, unfortunately. Our DNFs of the night are Maggot, Stewart, and Daniel. Now, this is a big mistake by Alpine DNFing this, this early in the season. Because they were already, let me just double check. Well, they were in P4 in a very close battle with I think, not necessarily very close, but they were quite close to Mercedes. They're going to be losing a position, I'm afraid, to the Ferrari boys. Let me just double check here. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. The Ferrari boys didn't score that many great positions and points here tonight, so. I mean, Zetterval got a race win in the sprint race. So I mean, we gotta wait until the standings get released. That will be. Let me see when it was last time. It was the 7th. Now the 7th was. Let me just double check. The 7th was on a Thursday, so we're most likely going to be seeing it tomorrow or the day after. But guys, I would like to thank you very much for watching the live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to let me know what you thought of it. If you didn't like it, just let me know. If you didn't like it, you can always give a thumbs up. That would help Delta T Racing as much as it would help me. And I will see you guys next week. My name is Phoebe Thomas, as a commentator, and I will see you guys next week. Peace out. Bye-bye.